for your values and fight for your friends. Fight through this blight, find the light at the end. Through the age of the dragon, the people will talk of the day they were saved by a hero named Hawk.
You're listening to Reignite, a podcast about connecting with old friends. I'm Frankie.
And I'm Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
So, in our last episode, we told you that we would be going back to our old friend Hubert to handle the mine massacre. And we did. But then we realized that that mission was about 10 minutes of content and therefore would make a very boring episode. So we also went back into the game and did our next episode. So you get 2 for the price of 1 this time.
Yeah, if you haven't played the mission Murder of Crows yet, go do that as well, and then come back here. We'll be here waiting. But we're going to talk about both of those missions in this episode, which you would have guessed by the title, but just in case you weren't paying attention and just hit play automatically, want to give you a heads up to go ahead and play that mission as well, because we're going to talk about it.
Oh, Hubert. Will you ever stop being a terrible human being? Probably not. Hubert tells of a tragedy at the Bone Pit mine, and lo and behold, there is a dragon that killed everyone and destroyed the whole operation. Hubert is not happy. But that's not all. A noble named Nuncio comes to us and claims of a murderer and thief that he has hunted all the way from Antiva, and he needs our friendship with the Dalish elves to track the guy.
Sounds fishy.
Did it sound fishy when you first talked to Nuncio?
I had an inkling, but I didn't really know what was going on until later.
Okay. Well, first we have to talk about the mine massacre.
We do.
One thing that Hubert says that did actually make me laugh, when he's first telling you about the tragedy, he tells you a cart came back in from the mine, the horse is the only survivor, and he cannot speak. We're like balls to the wall with mages in this town, and no one can like translate horse.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
We haven't come up with that spell yet. Deeply relatable, Hubert, for all of your terrible qualities. I do relate to that. Yeah,
we should be able to talk to animals in this world.
Like, there should be a speak with animals in this world.
Yes, agreed. I'm with you there.
Yeah. I will say this one thing about the mine massacre. When you show up to the mine, the ambient noise is actually very good. It's very spooky. You have the wolves howling. You can hear, like, growling of a giant beast. And, like, when you look down into the kind of arena, you have this sense of foreboding because of the sound that's coming in. But other than that, that's the only nice thing that I have to say about this.
Yeah, this fight is no fun. So we end up having, when we get to the Bone Pit, we are attacked by a high dragon, which just reminds me of my favorite joke from my first D&D campaign. I was playing with our mutual friend Joe, and we were constantly doing dealings with a high priest. And every time she walked into the room, Joe and my character both went, "High priest," and waved.
That's terrible. That's severe dad energy.
Yeah, and we were very young then, though Joe is a dad now.
I'd have gone with the priest that liked to blaze it.
Well, I mean, that's what the other joke I was going to make about the dragon is like, we're fighting the high dragon, because, you know, the dragon's high all the time.
He doesn't seem very high.
No.
He seems rather, like, on task.
I also have to apologize in advance because you're basically going to hear squeaking for the rest of the episode. Because yesterday, as of when we're recording, was Otis's 4th birthday. And the gift we got him is a trash can filled with little raccoons. And each raccoon has a squeaker. And he's obsessed with it. And so now he's running around. Yes, and now he's running around squeaking them. And I didn't think to put that away before recording. So now I'm not going to bother to edit it out.
And now if you were to try to put it away, he would look at you with the saddest eyes and be like, "Papa, why?
Yes.
Papa, why?
I mean, it would be more incredulous or side-eye than anything else, but yes.
Papa, it was my birthday.
And so he will be squeaking that.
I am presuming that you are Otis's Papa. I go by Papa with all the animals, so I just kind of default to Papa.
I go with Ba. I'm Ba, and
Ba.
Sarah is Za.
Very nice. Very
Yes.
nice. That
Anyway.
also sounds very cute. Oh, why?
Yeah. Anyway, most of this is just to say I'm not editing out all the squeaking because I can't be bothered. Also, pet sounds stay in. That's the rule of the podcast.
Yeah.
So we have to fight the High Dragon, and basically, so I assume you took the same team you always take on this mission?
I do love my squad. I love my babies.
I do too. And I ended up fighting. The fight came down to me and Otis taking him on, my Mabari, because about halfway through the fight,
everybody died.
Yes, about halfway through the fight, everybody died, and I thankfully had enough potions and could last long enough. Also, as a mage, if you get far enough out of the dragon's range, when he goes on top of the mountain to shoot down at you, he can't hit you, and so he just stares at you until he flies back down.
I managed to make it through without anyone dying.
Congrats.
Except for my Mabari, but that doesn't really count.
No, the Mabari just disappears. Yeah.
Yeah, he has slunk off somewhere to recover, and then he came back.
Yes.
When I was like, hey, you good yet? So then Hercules came back, and it was fine. But everybody else stayed alive. But also I was very conscious of everyone's health. So I did, like, jump around a little bit just to make sure that everybody stayed above half. So, like, I did a lot of management that time around because I was like, you're not going to take me. You're not going to take me. But yeah, like, it was just a fight. And you had to fight all the babies. And then you had to fight the big dragon. And then you had to fight more babies. And then you had to fight the big dragon. It was just
as
not
far
that
as
exciting. Like, there was nothing to, like, guide you to this, you know?
No.
Like, there was no adventure to it. You show up, you see that everything is blocked off, you have one path to go, and you get there, and it's like, oh, hey, there's a dragon. Oh, fun.
Yeah, I mean, basically, this is the developers, in my estimation, going, oh shit, it's called Dragon Age. We better get a dragon in this game.
I mean, there was a dragon at the beginning of the game.
That's true. And so, like, there's that. But also, I think on some level, like, fight-wise, if you've played a lot of MMOs over the years or classic boss battles in, like, old school video games, it's one of those, right? Like, you start by fighting the dragon. The dragon flies away. Like, it has multiple phases, right? Like, you fight the dragon, it flies away, dragonlings come out, you fight the dragonlings, it flies back down, you fight it some more, it flies away, dragonlings come. Like, honestly, if you've played any classic, like, World of Warcraft or EverQuest or any of those old kind of MMOs, it's like a multi-phase boss battle from one of those games is how it's meant to feel design-wise, which isn't necessarily a terrible thing. And I think as far as fights in this game go, it's fine. But, like, the one thing, at least up until this point, that I feel like Dragon Age does most poorly is boss fights. In a similar way that, like, Mass Effect also didn't do boss fights super well. There are some that we've lauded over the years, like the
Shadow Broker.
The Shadow Broker, thank you, like, is an incredible boss fight. But, like, I think ultimately when you have a game so steeped heavily in story and also these characters doing incredibly cool things in cutscenes, when you get to taking control of them, it doesn't always live up to it. Sometimes it does. I would argue that there are waves of fights in the Mass Effect series, like the whole opening of 3 feels as epic as the cutscenes in the game, right? Like, they really mastered the set pieces. And, like, there are moments like that, I think, in Dragon Age 1 and 2, but not a ton. I think for the most part, the boss fights feel very one-dimensional and just aren't the reason we're playing this game, to be frank. It's because of the story, the narrative, and the characters. The combat's okay. I happen to like the more action-y combat of this game versus the more tactical combat of the first game, which is good because, as any fan of the franchise knows, it basically leans into that. Although I guess there are still tactics in the third game. But anyway, I think that a mission centered around just one big boss fight is always going to be a disappointment because, at least for me and Frankie, for the most part, and the reason we started this series, we're here for the story and the smooching, not so much the action. And that will make a mission like this a letdown kind of from the beginning.
Yeah, there's just no narrative here. There's nothing compelling. We don't find a survivor. We don't find anything that implicates Hubert. Like, I think that Act 3 is where we're going to see so much more of that unfinished rush
Yeah.
that the developers had to deal with. And we're just seeing the consequences of that as we progress through Act 3. Like, I think Act 3 wants us to, like, not take the time to look
Yeah.
at each individual quest, and it's just like, just do it. Just do it and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also having which is not exclusive to just Dragon Age 2 and its Rust development cycle, but I think it's doing this kind of classic RPG thing that's not just exclusive to DA2 and its Rush timeline, but RPGs in general, that main quests are in depth, some side quests have some depth, and then other side quests are just things to do to get gear and to get XP and don't really matter. Some games have it worse than others. In recent memory, Final Fantasy 16, as much as I loved it, 90% of the side quests were fetch quests that had no meaning or story. And that's not uncommon in RPGs to pad it with the other stuff you might need. But I think also the difference here is Frankie and I have, especially Frankie, has played through this game many times, and we're both also playing on an easier difficulty. So, like, the gear, some of it is still really helpful because there is still challenge, but it's not, say, as vital as we might feel it is on a harder difficulty when we're really depending on each and every stat, which is just a play preference, especially for the podcast. And so I think all of those things together make the side quest a lot more less interesting. Also, Frankie and I have the foreknowledge of the upcoming games. The next two games, which I think, especially the fourth game, for all its flaws, handles side quests, I think, really well. At least rooting them in the overall narrative. And so, I think all of those things can't help but affect, because we're not, objective here, we're subjective. And so I think we're bringing our previous RPG knowledge baggage a little bit to this as well, which you can't help but do. And anyone who's played other games before are going to do as well.
So let's see. The only thing that's left to talk about as far as this goes is how we handled Hubert when we came back.
Yeah, so when we get back to Hubert and tell him what happened, he's basically a wreck, so worried about his mine and his profitability, and cares not for the workers at all.
Yeah. When he says, like, I have no money to pay you because, like, all my money was in the mine, what did you say to him?
So now I'm going to tell you what I said. I'm going to tell you how I disagree with Hawk's take and why I chose this option. So one of the options he gives you is he'll give you the mine. You can say, just give me the mine, which I chose. And then Hawk goes in game, my Hawk at least goes, yeah, I'll just take the mine. Maybe I can find a way to make it profitable, which is not why I chose it and not the response I thought I'd get. I chose it because I thought Hawk would go, I'll take the mine. That way we can put an end to this and I will be in control of it. Because my logic was my Hawk would take the mine from him so we could shut it down and make sure nobody else dies. That was my logic. But that's not how the Hawk framing for it is, the more rude kind of ruthless Hawk of like, oh, I'll just find a way to bleed money out of it. And it's like, oh, I didn't want that response. I was choosing this to stop the problem.
Be like, you don't need this anymore. I'm going to take this away from you.
Yeah. Like
you can't proven irresponsible.
You can't have this toy anymore. All you do is break it. It's mine now.
Yeah. I said that I didn't do it for the money. I was just like, I took care of the dragon because the dragon needed to be taken care of. You're insane. And you're a bad person. I don't like you.
Basically, yeah.
So that's it for Hubert. Like, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it's the end of his arc, and like, it was kind of an interesting mission in the sense that like that we saw some of the mercantilism and investment in this world financially, and like how Hawk got involved in trying to provide jobs for the working class, and it was an interesting conversation to have that kind of just nets out in Hubert is greedy and ruthless. You kill a dragon and it ends, and it's just, like, it's definitely far from the worst side quest I've played in a video game. But for our purposes on the podcast specifically, where what we care about is talking about the narrative, there's not a lot here. Thankfully, Frankie realized this early, and we had extra time to record, so Frankie suggested that we also play the mission Murder of Crows.
Yeah, and we did. We did do that thing.
Yeah, so while in Hightown, I was running around picking up all the quests there because I figured I should have them in my journal for future episodes when we decide to play those missions. And one of the ones I picked up, which was Murder of Crows, where you talk to a gentleman named Nuncio, who's from Antiva and has the Antivan accents that are familiar to you if you remember the handful of Antivan characters we've met before and or have played through the series.
Spanish/Italian.
Italian? It's very weird.
Like, maybe Italian, maybe Spanish, who knows?
Yeah, there'll be more
maybe
of this.
Catalan.
Yeah, well, there'll be more of this in the later games for sure. But anyway, Nuncio tells us that he and his cohort are hunting down a ruthless and violent elf who has committed horrible crimes and is in hiding. And he has gone to the Elven Sanctuary with the Dalish elves to go into hiding. And they were not able to get in, and they didn't want to cause a scene or a fight and murder innocents to get to him. So they ask us, since we have, as the champion of Kirkwall, a relationship with the Dalish elves, would we go talk to them on their behalf? I
immediately hate Nuncio. Not even from a meta standpoint, but I hate him on site due to, like, you're talking to him and did you choose to say, like, wow, that's a mouthful?
Yeah.
Yeah, his response is like, it helps to impress the ladies. I'm like, I wish I could stab you.
Oh, I don't like you. Yeah.
Yeah, I do not like you. You are terrible, and I hope something bad happens to you. And I get my wish, so it's great.
Yes. And so if we agree to help, then it is off to Sundermount to talk to Varel, who or
Variel.
Like
Ariel, but Variel.
Okay. Very Ariel. We're off to talk to Variel, who Nuncio says that he had spoken to and may know more, but he wasn't able to get information out of her. And so we go and we speak to Variel, and she lets us know that this mystery elf is hiding in a cave further north, and that if anyone comes looking for him, to send them his way. And it's at this point that Fenris goes, wow, this doesn't seem like a very good plan. This elf is not doing a great job of hiding if he's telling people to come find him.
Yeah, Varric said that for me. Something that I didn't even consider. You can flirt with Variel.
You can. I did not, but you can.
I didn't either. I was like, why can I flirt with you? This feels unnecessary.
I agree also.
Like, I was very half tempted to just be like, what does this even do? But my husband's standing right next to me. That just feels rude.
Yeah. I did not flirt with her either, but I did notice it and go, huh. I do think, though, I do recall that like Dragon Age 2 has some like one-off flirts that don't really amount to anything, that just give you a flirty response. I think that's what this is. Not every flirt in Dragon Age 2 is someone you can romance, whereas I think in the later games you can only flirt with the people you can romance, with some minor exceptions. But anyway, so with this information, we go to said cave, and boy, am I so excited, Frankie, to be investigating another cave, because let me tell you, these dungeons are the best.
Love caves?
Ugh, the worst. The minute I walk in, I go,
are so fun.
And so anyway, we fight our way through the cave. We end up fighting another one of those creatures. I can't remember the name of them. The Varterol, which I think we originally fought in this cave as well. And I was just like, why am I fighting another one of these? And anyway, after you kill the Varterol, you are confronted by my boyfriend, my favorite, Zevran, who, fun fact, because of the name of the mission, I had kind of made an assumption what it was about. But I never did this on my first playthrough of Dragon Age 2, because as I said when we were playing Dragon Age 1, I wasn't able to save Zevran in Dragon Age 1. I didn't spend enough time with him, so he attacked me, and I had to kill him. And so this mission doesn't exist in the second game if you import the first game with a dead Zevran. And so I'd never played it. And so I was excited to see him. I immediately, the first option I got, flirted with him, because of course I did. Because how could I not?
He's so handsome, how could you not? Though I disagree with... How did you feel about how his design was translated into this game?
I don't think he looks very good. Like, he just
Thank you!
He looks so different from Dragon Age 1.
Why did you massacre my boy.
Like, I understand that the design ethos is different, right? The humans overall and the elves overall look very different in this game than they did in the first game. The designs
Right.
are not the same. It's a probably different design Bible and all of that. But, like, for example, Hawk is in the next game at some point, and the design translates pretty one-to-one. The graphics are better on the PS4 and the Xbox One, but, like, it still looks like Hawk, in the same way that Varric also is in the next game, looks like Varric. Like, there are some differences to his design in the third game, but overall, the character basically looks the same, just more high fidelity, and some rougher edges are rounded out a bit as far as, like, design, polygonal design. But from 1 to 2, most of the characters that you see again, think about Flemeth, who looks nothing like she looked like in the first game.
Oh, yeah.
And the part of that could be that Flemeth is an eternal being, can change shape, who knows, but, like...
Also, I feel like that was less about, like, structure.
Yeah.
And more about just, like, costuming and overall...
Yeah, could
like,
be that.
grandeur.
She also carried herself very differently in the first game because she was trying to hide herself.
Yeah.
But yes, I think Zevran's design doesn't look... Like, he just doesn't look as good as he did in the first game, and I don't understand why they changed him so much. Maybe it's a different team from the first game. I don't think it was, though. I think the design team is basically the same. So, yeah.
They
It's a bit of a
wanted
bummer.
elves to be so much more pronounced than just pointy ears. Yeah. Like, they wanted elves to have these really big eyes.
Yeah.
And have this kind of alien feel. And applying it to Zevran just feels so wrong.
Yeah. And also, Anders looks drastically different from Awakening. So,
yeah.
Like, I think it's just because of the step up in graphics and the design differences. Like, this game is a little more fanciful and cartoony-ish instead of realism, that I think that has affected some of these character models poorly.
So Zevran was waiting for an assault from the crows.
Yeah.
And if we have Anders with us, Anders remembers and is like, oh, you were with the warden. Like,
yeah.
You were with the hero of Ferelden.
Yeah. And that you helped him save the world.
Yeah. And Zevran does his little flirty thing, which I appreciate. Does he call you a beauty to make the gods jealous?
Yes. And then also, but before he does that, he recognizes Isabella, who's with me.
Yeah.
And says, "Oh, how are you?" And like, it's clear that they had a one-off. Like, they have a relationship of one night stands multiple times, and it's just very funny. And she's, I think Hawk says something along those lines. Zevran, you never mentioned Zevran. He's like, well, he wasn't that memorable. And it's like, hey,
rude.
But he's flirty with her and then flirty with me. And and then, so he is very complimentary in that Zevran way. And then when you're talking to him, you find out that he is not all these things that Nuncio says about him. He helped the hero Ferelden save the day, and that mostly this comes from he used to be in the Crows and left. And now they don't stand for that, and so they want to kill him because they don't let loose ends live, and he's done nothing wrong other than leaving the group, and then killing all the people they send after him.
Right. So here we have another decision.
Yeah.
We can turn him in, we can let him go, or we can flirt with him a little bit.
So I flirted with him more, saying, well, if binding is a part of this, then why don't we get to the good part first?
Ooh.
But then it still makes you choose one of the other two options. And because I had Isabella with me, I say to Isabella, well, what do you think? And she goes, he was okay. And I said, about whether we take him in or not. And she went, oh, let him go. Which was a very funny line. So I chose to let him go.
I did too.
Yeah. And so he leaves and he tells us where the Antivan camp is, and that if we don't go confront Nuncio, they will track us down and hunt us down as well for not completing the mission we offered to do. So he suggests we take the fight to them, which we do. And so from here we go to an Antivan camp, which is just separately on the map, and we arrive Nuncio basically drops all pretense and just basically threatens to kill us because we didn't bring him in. And this is where Zevran shows up, talks trash, and then fights with us, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And the fight for me was really short.
Yeah.
And it could have been because Zevran was there and we had like the extra help.
Yeah.
But what I really appreciate is after the fight, Zevran's like, I'm sure you want to loot the bodies. I'll be over here.
Yeah, which is a very meta joke to make, but is
it is, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, and also but it's also something Zevran would say as well. But yeah, the fight was pretty easy. I mean, any large group of foot soldier fights for me, I have giant, massive AoE spells, a fire one and a lightning one, so I kill like mobs of enemies pretty easily. But yeah, and so then after we loot the bodies, we can then talk to Zevran, and he thanks us. And there is an opportunity here to flirt with him again. And if Isabella's with you, there's an opportunity for a threesome. Which I did take.
Yes! Living vicariously through you.
Yeah.
Threesome. I didn't even try. I knew Anders would be like, do you want to break up?
Yeah. Whereas Isabella's like, sure.
Like, banged him, I bang you.
It starts with Zevran asking for a quickie for the road from Isabella. And your options are, hey, I'm right here, or don't I get a say? And she's like, you can join if you want. And you're like, okay. And then you walk off while Anders and Fenris just stand there kind of staring at each other and going, okay, I guess that's happening.
Yeah. And I liked the Zevran quest. Like, it is short. But yeah. I feel like it had like a very nice compact story. Yeah. I would have maybe liked to do a little bit more with Zevran in the party.
Yeah.
But for what it was, I think it was successful.
Yeah. Before I talk about my thoughts on the mission, I want to jump back to us talking about the DA2 designs of DA1 characters. I will say that Alistair translated pretty well when we ran into him.
Oh, yeah. Alistair did translate well.
I think they did a good job with his design. And ultimately, I like Anders' design. I do think he looks very weirdly different from his DA1 design, but I still think the design is good. So I don't think it's all the DA2 design translations aren't good. I just think some of them are weirder than others. As far as this mission goes, I think it's great too. It's exciting for me to get reunited with my boyfriend from the first game. Because he ended up, for character I nothinged on my first playthrough, he became one of my favorites when we played through for the podcast, which is something that has happened. Caden went on a similar journey in the original trilogy for me, and so I think that it was fun to have this moment. I wish there were more moments like this with characters from the first game. It would just be a fun addition, because I do think, but to that end, I think that that's the one thing that Dragon Age is very hit or miss on, is connectivity to the previous games, which is by design. It was not developed the same way Mass Effect was. The Mass Effect trilogy was conceived as a whole. And when they were designing Mass Effect 1, they had the broad story of all three games already sorted because it surrounded this one character. Andromeda feels more like a Dragon Age continuation game, as far as like it's loosely connected, there are characters that matter, but ultimately you're on your own journey, and that's the take or leave with Dragon Age, which I think is fine. I think the problem with Dragon Age and the high expectations for missions like this is because of how well connected the original Mass Effect trilogy was, and not the realism of an interconnected world. Because I think of stuff like the Remedyverse and Alan Wake and Control, and how those games have loose ties, the world and moments together. Certain characters show up in the same places. That's kind of how more of a connected universe tends to be in media, right? Where it's not direct characters stepping into other stories, but there are loose threads that connect, and then maybe there's a cameo or something. This feels more traditional to that kind of connected story. So I think BioWare carries a lot of baggage of connectivity because of how successful the original trilogy was.
Yeah, I don't need Dragon Age to be as interlinked as Mass Effect, but I do think that it needs a little bit more connective tissue.
I agree. And I think that, again, this goes back to the problem of how this game was developed. I think because and we're not there yet, but I think Inquisition and Veilguard pay it off better. It's not perfect. I think all of the games in this series have their flaws, but I do think that the connectivity is better in the first two Awakening, obviously, and then in 3 and 4. It's hard, though, when every time you're a different hero in every game, it's you're immediately going to feel disconnected because you're playing a character you have no emotional connection to. And, like, I'm replaying Mass Effect 2 right now to guest on another podcast, which I'll talk more about when that episode is out of that podcast. But
Matt is cheating on us.
I started from 2. And because I've played through the first 2 games like 9 times, I have that connectivity to Shepard so that the intro to 2 still hits hard. But, like, you could only do something in 2 like that because of how connected those stories are. It just doesn't work the same with Dragon Age. And so they had to find other ways. And I think, to get a roundabout to the actual point I wanted to make, I think the Zevran mission is a good example of that connectivity. It's not perfect, but he shows up. He's connected to some of the characters. He is himself. It's the same voice actor. It's very much, personality-wise the same. And so you get a sense of that. And the player, being a fan of the previous game, even though Hawk doesn't know Zevran, adds that kind of weight and connectivity. It's the same way when Alistair shows up at the end of Act 2. Like,
it reassures you that you're in the same world.
Correct, yes. And I think that it's done well at points in this game, but could be better overall.
Yeah, agree.
Awesome.
I have nothing else to say.
That's fair. I
have one comment, which is Zevran says something that I'm always thinking whenever we are attacked by, like, low-level thugs.
Mm-hmm.
Why they insist on thinking they can kill people like you and the Warden, I will never guess. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah,
you can for acknowledging this.
You can basically respond going, I know, which is very good.
Like, thank you. I needed the validation.
Yeah, I think it's very funny because we talk about that on a meta level all the time. And so for Zevran to boldface call it out was just a very reassuring moment.
I like Zevran having this kind of wink at the camera personality. And everyone being like, who are you winking at? And he's like, don't worry about it.
I don't know if Zevran is inspired by this, but just because he's so much more prominent in media now after successful movies and recurring in video games, there is a Deadpool energy to Zevran as far as, like, meta narrative, winking at the camera. And that could be an inspiration, it might not, but I definitely see the connectivity more because of looking at this character again through that lens now that Deadpool's kind of everywhere again.
Also, Zevran says that he has a little war to wage back home, and from a meta standpoint, I'm wondering if he has something to do with the restructuring of the Antivan Crows. Because the way that we come to understand the Antivan Crows through Zevran is that they are an assassin's guild and not necessarily, like, this massive political power.
Right.
Like, I don't know, when we come to know them, there's so much more, like, politics and justice tied up in them. And it could be because of what's going on in their city and how they're reacting to that. But I feel like there is a shift in the Crows from when we first get introduced to them to when we actually physically meet them.
Yeah, I think part of that can also be, without getting too far into Veilguard's narrative, I think part of that could also be Zevran is one perspective on a group, and that's all we get. True. It's mostly filtered through him. And with any religious or political group, one person does not define the entire group, but can be an example of that group. And so it could be that as well. I am curious and want to do more research into that as we approach those story moments, because I think there's definitely more to dig into. But enough about that. Let's move on to communications from the field, as it were. Excited to hear what Callie has to say. Callie submitted another voice message, and so we're going to cut to that right now. Take it away, Callie.
Anathara, everyone. Here are some thoughts on episode 39 and Gamlen's greatest treasure. What Frankie said about how part of grief is growth resonated with me. Such a bittersweet fact that to lose someone important is to lose a piece of oneself, and something new must grow into that empty space, not as a replacement, but simply because that empty space refuses to remain empty. And if we are deliberate about what we cultivate in that space, it can be beautiful, but it still might never feel worth the loss. I also strongly favor exploring opportunities and seeking certainty rather than being left wondering about what could have been. Recently managed to re-establish contact and possibly reconcile with someone who hurt me badly and exited my life half a year ago. It is early, but seems to be going well so far. It is awkward and takes no small amount of emotional effort from me. However, despite everything, there is still potential there. So, yes, of course, I encouraged Sharad to give things a try with Gamlen. As always, many thanks to Frankie and Matt for taking the time and effort to make Reignite. And remember, all Templars are bastards, and they must be abolished and held accountable for what they have done. But Sharad and Gamlen remind us that sometimes non-Templars who seem like bastards are worth giving a chance.
As always, thanks, Callie, for that voice message. We love hearing from you and any of our listeners. So again, if you have a voice message you want us to play on the show or a correspondence you want to post in the Discord, we're happy to read it. Please do so. We love hearing from y'all.
As of recording this, it is the day after Valentine's Day, and last night I did a Monster Prom stream on the Discord voice channel, and Callie hung out with me and laughed and joked with me while I played 2 Monster Prom games. So thank you, Callie, for hanging out with me. If you want to hang out with me while I play games, we're going to do more stuff, hopefully, in the coming months. So keep an eye on the Discord.
And yeah, I do want to start streaming more this year. I have a Twitch channel. I used to stream on it all the time. And I'm trying to get back to that, especially since we're trying to tackle a bunch of games this year, both new and old, that are on my backlog list. And so I haven't really found a schedule for that yet. I've got kind of a lot going on right now, but I'm hoping to get into a better cycle of streaming more regularly. And yeah, and if like smaller scale private streams are of interest to folks, like I'm happy to stream in the Discord as well, but a lot of folks know my Twitch, and so it's easier for me to stream there. But yeah, please come hang out with us. We're excited for the craft night. And if you have any other suggestions for events or community things that we can do, we've often engaged with this community in kind of a binary way of like episode chat. But if there are other things you can think of, like the craft night or other stuff that we may not have thought of, we're open to suggestions because we love hanging out with y'all. We love interacting with y'all on the Discord, and we want to continue to build and grow this community. All right, on to Fandom Corner. Frankie, what's in your Fandom Corner?
My Fandom Corner is Tokyo Rose, a New Jersey mid-aughts emo band that has finally returned after 20 years with a new single. They're finally catching up to the era of streaming, and their music that once only lived in an obscure YouTube playlist and in digital files that I ferried from one hard drive to the next, it can now be found wherever you're streaming music. I discovered this band when I was 16. That was extremely peak Frankie cringe emo era. Saturday Every Day was a single off of their first album, Reinventing a Lost Art, and it was preloaded on a little MP3 player that I had gotten for Christmas, and that's how I discovered it. And it changed the course of my musical love just to hear it. I was obsessed. I've seen them multiple times. I saw them at the Knitting Factory, and live music had never felt so good. Every vibration, every sound, it was all a part of me, and I was a part of something bigger. I even contributed to their third album, The Promise and Compromise. They broke up and disappeared from the internet shortly after that. And I'd check in every few years, and I would find absolutely nothing. No mention, no explanation, no trace. Just my memories, keeping them alive. But in January of this year, 2026, they released their first new song in almost 20 years, Something Sweeter. It's a throwback to a time when music was new and exciting and mine, and it makes me feel whole. You can finally find Tokyo Rose on Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else online, not just MySpace. And you can check out their new single and let them know Frankie sent you.
Yeah, I often send Frankie music when bands we like put out new music, a variety of artists, or if it's just a song I think Frankie will like. I, of course, sent them a ton of M. Bayhold stuff after we talked about it. And so, much to my surprise one morning when I got a message from Frankie saying, "Oh my God, they're back!" and sending me the new single, which I listened to and very much does sound like the stuff that come before, because when Frankie and I hung out in person a lot more, that was constantly in rotation, especially the third album, because that came out around, I think, the time that we knew each other.
2007.
No, it might have been. It's the
No,
closest.
the album was 2007.
Oh, the album was 2007. Yeah.
We met later, but
Yes.
the album was 2007.
But I think you were still obsessed with it when we met, and so
Yes,
we
of
listened
course
to
I
it
was.
a lot. And so
I'm obsessed with them now.
yes, and so it's fun to see that they're back. Do you know if it's the same band members or if it's a different lineup?
I think it's the same lineup. I've been talking with Chris, who runs their Instagram, because when I followed their Instagram, Chris sent me a message being like, "Hi, thanks for following us. You should check out our single." I was like, Chris, I have so many feelings and I'm gonna unload them on you. This was a mistake on your part. You should not have messaged me. So now Chris and I chat every now and then.
That's fun.
I just bought a hoodie to support them, and also because I think I only had one piece of Tokyo Rose merch. I think it was a shirt, and like that shirt's long gone now.
Sure.
So I bought a hoodie, and I'm having it shipped to John. So I will eventually get it someday. It'll be fine.
Amazing. Well, I'm so glad that this happened. I felt a similar way when Eve 6 resurfaced during the pandemic because they had disappeared for a long time, and are now still constantly putting out music, which is exciting for me, as they were one of my favorite bands and also kind of disappeared. Their lead singer had a kind of somewhat successful solo career, but the fact that they're back, it's always fun when these bands that go away do find their way back to what they did best. It's always a good time, along the lines of some other bands that are just kind of always around. Like, it's funny. There are times where I will think of a band I haven't thought of in a while and go, I wonder what they're up to now. Oh, they haven't put out an album in 15 years. Okay, I guess not much, because my music tastes have shifted over the years. Heavier in certain genres. I think I still listen to everything, but like I had a nerdcore phase, I had a heavy metal phase. Now I'm in my pop queen phase, which is my most glittery of phases. And so I just think that when I revisit some of the older stuff, it's like, oh right, they, like Adam Warrock disappeared from the internet, but then very recently all of his music resurfaced on Bandcamp, including his albums, which I didn't own, so I couldn't listen to anymore. And so that was exciting. I don't know if Adam's going to be making new music. He kind of crashed and burned, had a burnout phase, and like basically deleted himself from the internet because he was so tired. The man was making a nerdy song every week for years. And was a delightful person, but like kind of got burned out and disappeared. But his albums resurfacing on Bandcamp and on YouTube makes me optimistic that maybe he'll go back to making albums again, at least, because he is one of my favorite rappers and had done some of the smartest nerdcore music I think I had ever heard. Maybe I'll talk about Adam Warrock at length in a future Fandom Corner. But anyway, all that to say, I'm so glad that this band that you love is back and that hopefully they will have a full album soon so you can enjoy that. For me, my Fandom Corner this week is another video game. This is one that I had turned my nose up at for maybe my entire life. It's the victim of auteur theory. The creator of the series, Hideo Kojima, is just like this lauded flawed creator, and I always kind of was like, his games probably suck, I can't be bothered. I was a naysayer and a hater. Well, due to a upcoming series that I'll have more to share about on Fun and Games, I played through this past weekend the first Metal Gear Solid for the first time. And as much as it pains me to say this as a hater, I really loved it. And so, for those who don't know Metal Gear, the only impression I'll ever be able to do is David Hayter as Solid Snake going, Metal Gear! Because you hear it constantly in the game. Metal Gear Solid was a good time. Flawed for sure. The combat is not perfect. The gameplay is not perfect. But the story is like the best of B movies. The writing is both laughably terrible and really insightful at the same time. It's a wackadoo story. They go from one moment talking about the nuclear escalation to then talking about nanomachines in the same breath.
Amazing.
It's just really weird and goofy. Like, I'd always looked at these games as like military espionage thrillers, which they are, but they are so much bigger than that. There is a moment between Solid Snake, the main character you play as, and Otacon, a scientist who you rescue who ends up becoming your number 2 throughout the game, that when you meet up with him in person, he says that he needs to ask you a really important question. You say, what? And he goes, Snake, do you think love can bloom on the battlefield? And it's just... And then this is the sincere conversation between Snake and Otacon about if love can bloom during war. It's the most high schoolish shit you've ever seen, and yet I loved it. The voice acting is incredible. This was a PlayStation 1 game when it first came out. I emulated the original PlayStation game. It's funny, the graphics aren't great, but they are done in a way that the polygons still feel dramatic, even though they only vaguely look human. The faces are flat with like smudges to represent the face, so they look more like kind of paper dolls, and their heads nod as they talk, so there's no mouth flapping, and so it just feels kind of like a play or a cartoon. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. The gameplay is stealth focused mostly. There is gunplay and it's terrible. Most of the boss fights are a slog, but ultimately it's a good time. It's really over dramatic and I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to playing through the rest of the series. I have teased this series that we're doing over at Fun and Games, and I'll give more details about it as it comes to fruition. It will be a Patreon exclusive. But that said, it was really fun to visit this game, to play this game that I had ignored all these years and turn my nose up at and go, well, actually it is pretty good and that I enjoy it. And now I want to play more of them. It's this thing that Frankie and I have talked about. Like, I had this with first person shooters as well. Like, I hated stealth games. I wasn't good at them. And so I was like, they're all bad and I'll never play them. It turns out there's more nuance than that, as I should know and have engaged in more. And so it's fun to interact with a genre that I often turn my nose up at and actually enjoyed it. I still think Kojima's flaws are his flaws, but I see why people enjoyed this game so much. And I'm excited to play the rest of the Metal Gear Solid series in due time. So, yeah.
Nice. This sounds like my feelings towards Mission Impossible.
The movies?
Yes. Like, this is just what it sounds like. Because this is exactly how I felt about Mission Impossible. Like, I love a heist, and I love, like, spy stuff. And whenever people were like, oh, what do you think of Mission Impossible? I was like, I have never seen a Mission Impossible.
You should. So Sarah and I are on this.
I have watched the first one.
Right. Sarah and I are on this journey because friend of all podcasts, Patrick H. Willems, is a diehard Mission Impossible fan and has been praising the newer movies because they're just high-action ridiculousness. And so Sarah and I started a rewatch of the first 3 I think we got through, which I think I had already seen, and we're just getting to like the new stuff. We fell off. We have to get back to it so we can watch the newer ones. In that same vein, I do at some point plan to watch the Fast and the Furious movies, because I watched like the 6th one out of context because friends wanted to go see it, and it was the bizarrest, most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen.
That is what I hear about them.
And so, like, the first 2, I think, are pretty self-serious, and then after that, they just escalate and get goofy. Anyway, watch the Mission Impossible movies. I think you'd like them.
I watched the first one with my partner, Ace, and I have not watched the rest yet, but I have a feeling Ace is gonna push them on me a little bit more. Just be like, I wanna try this one? I'll give you a cookie. It's the only way to get me to do things that I'm resistant towards.
Yeah, basically.
I need a reward system.
Right, exactly. Also, we don't always say this at the end of Fandom Corner, but as always, please share your Fandom Corners with us, whether in the Discord, via email. Like, we want to hear what you guys are playing, listening to. We have a section in the Discord, in our Discord server, to share other art that you're enjoying. We have channels dedicated to music, to books, to video games. Share it there. Send us an email. We love to hear what y'all are getting into as well. For us, the only thing left to do is talk about what comes next and wrap up. And so for the next episode, we are going to dig into the companion quest, starting with Meryl and A New Path, taking these one at a time, really digging with these characters to see where their paths go and lead.
And if you like what you heard here, you can follow us on social media. We're at ReignitePod on Blue Sky, YouTube, and Instagram, or you can send us an email at reignitepod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Blue Sky as Frankie B. Writes and DJ Stormageddon.
Please rate, review, and if you're not already, subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcatcher if you can. It helps us get seen so other people can find us. Also, if you have access to other podcast platforms that you don't use a ton, if you could still go to those platforms and rate and review us there as well, it's a huge, huge help. Even if it's not your go-to platform, all of that stuff helps us combat the mighty algorithm and grow this incredible community.
Speaking of community, we're members of the Certain Point of View Network. Visit certainpov.com to find more nerdy podcasts, each with a unique point of view. You can also find a permanent invite link to our Discord server on the website, where you can join in the conversation.
As for personal plugs, I don't have anything new other than I am going to be at PAX East this year. PAX East 2026. I am also, for the first time in a while, going to be on a panel at PAX East. I was lucky enough to get asked by the one and only Adam Gumbert, who has done several side quest episodes over on Fun and Games, to be on his panel, which is called Gamepardy. And it's basically a twist on Jeopardy, but about video games. And that will be, I am looking it up now because I wasn't prepared.
If only there was an outline that you could have added this information to before we started recording.
Yeah, but that would be a level of professionalism that none of our audience would be prepared for. So Gamepardy is happening on Thursday, March 26th at 9 p.m. at the Condor Theater. So if you're going to be in Boston as well for PAX East, please come through and hang out and watch me demolish the competition, or more accurately, probably embarrass myself. It should be a good time. I will be there the whole weekend covering video games with my incredible co-host. And so you should definitely come through. If you are going to be there, please let me know. I would love to say hi.
I know you're saying Gamepardy, like Jeopardy, but it sounds like you're saying game party. Like,
I know,
it's
not.
A game party.
Yeah, it's not.
It could
No
be.
Parties. I mean, it could be. You don't know.
As for me, just a reminder that my website is frankiebwrites.com, where you can hire me out for podcasting, voiceovers, writing, or editing, or proofreading, or you can just drop me a message. You can kick me $1 or $2 for being your favorite little internet jester. Also, if you want to make sure my cats are happy, you can donate to Friends of Rescue or share their posts on Facebook to help them get some traction.
We'd also, of course, like to thank the one and only Case Aiken for developing some awesome t-shirt designs that you can find at certainpov.com. And, of course, Case also makes our individual episode show art and constantly deals with my endless amount of notes when I bitch and moan about what I want changed. So thank you, Case. We appreciate it.
I think I've only given Case one note.
Yeah, it's usually me.
Which means I'm the favorite.
I mean, you were already the favorite. That's not news to literally anyone, but thanks.
I'm the least burdensome.
Yeah.
I'm getting such a good grade in our friendship.
Yes, exactly.
We'd like to thank Miracle of Sound for our theme music. If you've been jamming along to our intro, then you should head to miracleofsound.rocks and check out Gavin Dunn's other music and merch.
Also, thank you to Red Spinks for our Dragon Age-inspired logo. To see more of his work, you can go to Chaos Does Art on Instagram.
And lastly, thank you for listening. I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt A.K. Stormageddon. And remember, all Templars are bastards.
Fight for your values and fight for your friends. Fight through this blight, find the light at the end. Through the age of the dragon, the people will talk of the day they were saved by a hero named Hawk. Hawk, 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 Hawk.
Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun, whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, aka Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.